Guys, welcome back. How are you doing? We're back in Ableton. I hope you didn't get too upset with the little divergence into Blender, into the digital art stream that we had, which we'll continue to have some of that because this channel isn't just like some Ableton channel. If you couldn't tell, I haven't made tutorials for Ableton since a long time ago. It's about hanging out, sharing what I care about in more of like a long form way. So if you think about like a podcast and it's long form, deep dialogues that go on for a long time, that's kind of what this is, except it's just me, although I am talking to someone, to you, but I'm also teaching and explaining and storytelling. So maybe this is kind of like its own new innovative thing or whatever. Been doing it for a while, 2 years, doing these SDHOs. I don't know when the first one was, but it's probably exactly about 2 years ago. So we're back in Ableton because I've got a really great idea, and I don't really know what it's called. I think it might be called like an arrhythmic sound. So like, you know how like music is tonal? You know, so like, what does that mean? Well, this piece of music is in A minor. Well, it's tonal. All the notes, the tones are in A minor. But then you have atonal music, which just means there is no scale, you know, it's atonal. Anything goes. So if you have music that is rhythmic, you know, you typically have defined rhythmic patterns in songs, like boo 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 boo. You know what I mean? Like they're hitting on the 16th notes, the quarter notes, the 8th notes. Maybe he's getting into some of them triplets. Oh hey Chongush. He's like, something's going on in this room. I better come check it out. Now I'm in a stretch right now. Yeah, life is good. It's a little puggy. You know, it's really good. Maybe I'm going to jump up on the couch. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get up on the couch. That's where all the comfy blankies are. Oh, he's talking about me on the SDHO show. That's cool. Hasn't done one of these in a while. Yeah, haven't done one of these in a while. But it's really great. So what might be the same analog to what I just said? Rhythm. A rhythm. So in a rhythmic pattern, you know, and I got this idea as I get most of my ideas when I'm meditating, and when I meditate, I'll often, well, not even often, I always have like ambient music on, right? And not often do you hear rhythms in ambient music. Now, there was an SDHO where I wanted to come up with like rhythmic patterns that would sound good with ambient, but this is different. And here's what happened. So I was noticing that this piece of ambient music that I was listening to, it had this rhythm, but there was no consistent rhythm to it. And it wasn't like the focus of the song, but nevertheless, I was like, it's like it got me out of this deep meditation, and I was like, why do I not hate that there's like drums, you know, in this ambient piece? Why do I not hate that there is a rhythmic component? And I was like, it's because my mind can like sink into the rhythm, you know? Why? Because it's not predictable. Like if your neighbors have some sub bass going on and you're hearing boo, 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 it's horrible because your mind knows the next thing that's coming. It hates it. Our minds, they look for patterns, you know, because like when we're in this world and we're navigating things and we're having experiences, like we look for patterns to like orient ourselves. But something's interesting. When there's an absence of patterns, our minds can relax. And I almost liken this to white noise, which we love, which is another great sound for ambient music. And, you know, white noise should be very chaotic. Yeah, we didn't we didn't stick with the plan, if you know what I mean, but nevertheless, we're having fun tonight. If you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, in in white noise, you get every single frequency in the entire frequency spectrum. And when you hear that, it's not like there's no pitch. You know, it's atonal. There's no discernible pitch. Yes, you'll put filters on it if you want, which we normally do. We put a low-pass filter on because we don't want the highest highs. Maybe you do, whatever. But our mind can't really find a pattern, so it like relaxes into it, and that's why like white noise sounds really good. That's also why when you hear a lot of like nature sounds, weather, or not nature, I mean more like weather sounds, like a storm or something, you know, waves on a beach, you know what I mean? You know, in which is basically, it's all like white noise, or it's just like white noise with different filter types if you want to make it, you know, but it's unpredictable, right? So like if it was constantly predictable and the wind was like you'd be like, oh god, but it's not, you know, like it's so like our minds they're looking for the pattern, there's no pattern there, and then they're like they relax. And so that's what I noticed was interesting about this rhythm. And a rhythm is going to be like a, you know, it's like staccato, staccatic events that happen, that might either happen, you know, on a grid like this, like you know what I mean, like whatever sort of, you know, note division that you have or whatever. But what I noticed and what I wanted to do is I said, you know, and follow along, please, you know. Oh, and before we do jump in, I'm going to kind of just play you the instrument I made. I saved it, and it might be a good idea to kind of, if you guys don't know about where when you make your own presets, where they go, so maybe it might be a benefit, but then we'll make it from scratch. And it's really cool because like it will just play, and then you get to just turn things and make it sound the way you want. So it's going to be taking use of the arpeggiator, not on sync mode, but on free mode. But not just free, like always at, you know, 66.9 hertz, but it's going to like move and jump around. So like you're going to hear a continuation of notes, but they're not going to be a certain speed, because if they are, then they'll go to another speed. And I want to make this like relaxing thing, because normally when we're making this relaxing music, we're using like filtered white noise, or we're using some sort of like drone from a synthesizer or some sort of a thing. But this is like ambient, but like a rhythmic ambient, you know. It gives that sort of effect that you can just sort of relax into. You don't really need to be thinking about it, but it's like pleasing to listen to. And we're going to be utilizing the LFO to, you know, do this, to like, and what it kind of like reminds me of, because like I was talking about like, you know, like weather and stuff. It reminds me of like, and I think we all like this, or most of us do, is like listening to a rainstorm and pretend you're hearing rain, and that rain is like hitting your driveway, it's hitting your patio, it's hitting, maybe there's like a bowl, like a ceramic bowl or a metallic bowl or something, and the rain's hitting it, and the rain is coming down at a certain velocity, at a certain rate, but it's not the same every time. Maybe it speeds up a little bit, maybe it slows down a little bit, and you're not listening to it thinking, or maybe you do, I don't know, you're not thinking like, oh, it's really fast, now it's really slow. No, you're just like hearing it, and it's like, it's almost like you're getting like massaged. And because these rates are changing, so I was like, what if we could do that in here? So you can follow along with anything. We're gonna be using a lot of MIDI effects, and any sound, like you could just throw any synthesizer with the default sine wave, that would be fine. A kick drum if you want, any sound if you want, anything really should work with this. I do want it to be able to be tonal, so like, you know, like I don't mind if it maybe like randomly picks a note above or below, which we'll be getting into with the MIDI effects. So before I start adding things to this arpeggiator, which is going to be our first thing here, I'm going to open another MIDI track, and I just want to show you where the presets are, because I made a preset of this. Listening back, it doesn't sound as good, so I'll probably change some things. But we'll be designing it from scratch. But if you go to... So, like, just so you're aware, anything you make, you don't have to even save the Ableton project. If you didn't know this, maybe I'll just get into it quickly for this. Is that, like, if you make any good synthesizer, it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of MIDI effects with it, doesn't matter if you have a lot of audio effects, you can save all of it, regardless of what synthesizer you use, whether it's a native Ableton synth or a plugin, all of it, including, as I mentioned, MIDI effects, audio effects, the whole enchilada will all be saved as a preset, as an instrument rack preset. So how do you get to presets? And you can save presets for all of it. Presets meaning not like a preset that like Ableton makes in one of these devices that you would open, but like your own presets, right? So you would go to user library, of course, because this is ours, and you would go to presets. It's going to be under instruments, and of course instrument rack, and I called this Arhythmic Generacja. You don't have to say it that way, by the way. There's a lot of stuff I packed into here, and I'm going to deactivate all of the audio effects and show you, and it's taking a long time. It should. There's like a whole bunch of MIDI effects, a synth, and like just so many. Look at this. See how this rate is bugging out like this? And if you arm the track and you just like hold down a note, it'll play forever. You can also double click anywhere, get like a really long clip so you don't have to hold a button down. This is just setting things up. It can be as long as you want. Make it a really big long note. And before I push play, again, it's just an operator with a sine wave and the arpeggiator, random, velocity, and then I'm going to turn off all of these audio effects. I also really like automating Redux because it gives a very unpredictable sounds. Here's our crazy LFO here. I'm going to turn off Corpus. Corpus is an amazing resonator device. We don't even have to do these. I just want just doing sound design. So here's what it sounds like. So again, it's just and I'll turn off the arpeggiator. Just a sine wave. I have on the envelope, just like a very quick envelope, because it's not meant to be like a long sound. It's meant to be like short. So now let's put that arpeggiator on there and see how this is being driven by the LFO. And this is the sound we get now. Now maybe I don't like that. Maybe I want it lower, okay? I'm going to double click this to get that reverb on. Now, where is that LFO? It's got the LFO on random. When I do the random one, I usually crank the rate really high like that. And so, like, you're literally, like, playing the LFO. But listen how, like, it's not predictable. Like, just listen. And this random is actually changing the pitches. So listen to when I turn this random off. Maybe you like that better. But I wanted a little bit of, like, pitch stuff as well, because it really didn't matter too much. And let's just click play to this thing. Let's put on this Redux. Let's put on this Corpus. Might need to lower the volume before we run that into that Corpus. Turn the master volume down on the operacja. Let's put it on a different one. No, you might want to modulate this. Kind of sounds good there. Maybe the decay. And it's actually picking whatever sound comes. Now let's put that random back on. Did we already do that? Lower the chance. I've also got this velocity on, so we would want to make sure that we've got this velocity here. Maybe you want to turn the velocity amount down. So let's build it from scratch. The main thing is that it's just a sound. It doesn't even have to change pitch. Those are just other little fun things that I did. You don't have to do that. I actually think just starting from scratch is going to be good. So put any sound here. I'm going to use this operator. Just with the sine wave for now. I'm going to take it down and I'm going to... I want it a little bit low, doesn't really matter. Let's see, the length. Just make it something long. Legato just makes it fill up and okay, I'm gonna go into MIDI effects. I'm gonna put the pitch first, just because I wanna just say, nah, let's just do it. This is just like so I don't have to go into the MIDI clip. Let's go down 12 and let's start playing. Let's get some more volume here. Because it always sounds better with a reverb. Wait. So see the rate? So you might want to say, okay, where do I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to like go up there. I probably don't want it to go faster than that. So let's just start that LFO. I just minimized the operator and I put it to rate. So let's try to get that step to be in our range where we don't really want it to go. So I don't even think we need to get it off of the sine wave and go to random because we've got this jitter thing. So right now it's like predictable, right? I don't really want it to go any faster than it's going. I don't really want it to go any higher, but I want it to like jump around. So let's move this jitter up. Hear that? And then let's go to resonators. So not corpus, but resonators. Maybe I'll turn off the filter, get everything coming through, add up the decay. By the way, this resonator device has been with Ableton for like ever. You can put it all the way up so it's just this. Now, they're all coming through at the same velocity. So we definitely, anytime we're doing something, we definitely want to be generating random velocity, so it's not the same. And when you just need random, I would click it to fix down here. And then see how that changed a little bit? But you have to make sure that whatever you're playing has a velocity. Right now this is just 15% velocity, so you'll hear none if it's at 0. But listen when I turn it up. Hear all those changes? I don't really like resonator device, but I haven't used it in a while, but we'll play with it a little bit. There's like 2 modes. There's this A mode and then B mode. Ooh, that sounds interesting. It really depends. Sometimes the B mode sounds like crap. Sometimes it sounds like, right now I'm like, no, I'm liking this. So let's play with these things first. So whatever sounds good. Using your ears, that's the best sound design tip anyone can really give you. And then you can add these pitches. We're just adding the minor triad in here, octave above. And then the minor third an octave above. Play with the decay. It's nice because it gives it its own like reverb, you know? Don't know what that does, but it sounds slightly different, so I'm just playing with it. And that's it, really. Like, it doesn't bother me. I like it. And then let's go into this envelope and play with the decay. You might want to map the decay, but like maybe not so intense, so bring it down. And like, obviously I knew I didn't want it to go so far out, so I brought down the 100% thing down a little bit, and I knew I didn't want it to go all the way in. But like, I'm gonna play with them till it sounds right. It's not like an exact science. That's what I really love about like 888 up there. See that? That's what I really like about you know, whether I'm using like Blender, a 3D computer graphics rendering engine, or if I'm using like Ableton, this amazing digital audio music production software. It doesn't, you know, it's using state-of-the-art technology in its field, you know, audio for Ableton, graphics, video for Blender, and it's really complex, techie stuff. Like, you would have no idea what to do in any of these programs if you hadn't used one before, or you weren't learning it, actively trying to learn it. And it could seem like it's so technological, and it is. But if you can then take, so like technological, you know, that's all like left brain, you know, and then like creativity, you know what I mean, is right brain. So you're able to, if you're able to know the technology side, left brain, you're able to then merge it with the right brain creativity and make wonderful things that you could never make. You know, like I play guitar, bass guitar, keys, and like I know music theory pretty well, and I've made a lot of different things. I don't really play instruments that much anymore because I've sort of moved from like making music to making like art now. I'm more into like visual art now rather than like music stuff. I mean, I'll come back to it, but you know, like this is a thing that you're not gonna make with your guitar, you know? I mean, you probably could, but you know what I mean, right? Like this is an interesting thing that you can have fun with and play with. So let's maybe turn off the resonators. Let's go into here and let's play with this release, see if that does much. Let's add B, give it some FM. Play with the envelope. And maybe let's give a little bit of variety to this level. I don't want a lot, just a little. Just so it's not static. It's probably too much. Boy, that thing really jumps. I'm turning the wrong one, that's why. Yeah, I like that. It's really weird, because for a second I was like, what am I processing this with? I'm like, because it sounds like there's like a little bit of a reverb or a resonator. I'm like, but I turned the resonator off. So let's go to audio effects, drop the reverb on there, or this reverb. A little bit of reverb on bassier stuff is never bad. Add more. Now let's go into MIDI effects. turn down this volume a little bit because we don't want it to get too close up here. You can always tap this thing to see where it's going. Anytime it goes above 0, as you know, it's going to clip. I don't want too much of it. That's why I always have a limiter, because like you'll see a little bit of a yellow here when it does, and then you know to turn it down a little bit. I'm gonna give a little bit of compression, even though it'll just to even out some of the dynamics. Maybe take the ratio down a little bit. Maybe play with the reverb a little bit, give it a little bit more decay. And then let's go to random. Put it here. I mean, we probably could put it after the velocity. I don't think it'll matter. Nothing will happen with the random unless you... Now it's going to select random stuff. And it's on add, so it's only going to play the current note. And then 30% of the time it'll play something else. So let's go to buy. So how many choices will it play? 12. We can maybe lower that so it doesn't jump around too much. Maybe 7. 7's probably a better number for that. So we've got this really long note in here, which is convenient. So oftentimes, like, the best times to do sound design, you want to have like your MIDI clip playing, and then you can like tweak all this stuff. And which is fine when you know what MIDI notes you want, or in our case, it doesn't really matter which damn MIDI. We just want a long pitch, just a long note. We just want it to be playing forever because there's no predictable pattern. Like, we just need it to play. And coming up here to this transform, there are some devices where if you just click this play, you don't even have to have a MIDI clip. Like, the thing's just going to generate. But because that's not how we're able to do it in this instance, that's why I chose a long MIDI note. But if you wanted to, you can make sure it's record enabled, and then you could play your own notes. So that's obviously a much higher pitched note. So I'll use this pitch. Now again, we don't need all these random notes. We could just have it. It's playing the same one. And I might just keep it on add. And if you really wanted to, you could then, of course, right after the random, you could add this scale, and doesn't really matter what the bass is, but you would want to, of course, select a scale. Again, you've got to give it some chance. That's probably too much. Let's go play with the LFO. Again, it's whatever sounds good to you. That really should be like the beauty of sound design. So it's really crazy because we're almost like playing the LFO basically. The LFO is doing like everything. Slower. Faster. 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 And you get more jitter. No, too much jitter. Hey, maybe it's how much jitter you need. I don't know. Playing another note. All right. And then a really great one. If you really don't play with this device, you really should. This was one that like totally made me feel all too intense. Corpus. By the way, so if you want the corpus to play along with the notes, you can hit this sidechain button, select the track operator, and it won't work until you click this frequency. Now it will, if it does play any note above the one you're holding down because of the random device, it will do that. Might want to turn the gain down a little bit. Might be a good, I've noticed with these corpus, might be good to get like an LFO doing some of that shit, and then you can select through these, see if anything sounds good. Normally one will just sort of like stand out as like really nice, and then you'll stick with it. I've been actually getting good results with string, which was one that I used to like really rip on. I love corpus. It's a resonator, and you got all these different resonator ones, and it sounds really nice. Experiment with putting it before or after the reverb. Might sound better before, but different nonetheless. Just experiment. This is, after all, sound design, and I'm playing like different notes on my membrane's always a good one, because what's a membrane? It's like a drum head. Ratio makes a weird sound when you change it. It's like it make it some LFO. Just like give some variations. Maybe take the rate down a little bit. Maybe you don't need any phase. Just the positions. So it doesn't like vary as much from right to left. Let's see if we get something different with pre. Like just turning this down, it sounds different and like better to me. That's really just the volume. Let's turn it off. And always a good idea to throw some delay, see if that can do that can always give it like a different kind of... There we go. And then I have to do something here. I hate when it does that. So you know what I realized? We get like an audio track. Go to resampling. I don't just want to like resample it, but I want to do like a frozen reverb. So... which maybe what I'll do is I'll move the reverb later in the chain just so like it captures everything. I don't know if it really matters. Reverb towards the end makes so then it, like everything gets moved through the reverb. So I'm playing, but now I want to freeze it. And very soon I'm going to release, and then we'll listen to what this sounds like. Actually, no, wait, we got to record, obviously. Or do we want to record it? No, going to release. Hear that? That's the reverb being frozen. Okay, now let's record it. Wow, a big sub just kicked in. Why? That wasn't there before, so... Oh, it's probably because both are playing at the same time. So maybe I'm here. Well, no, I'm not hearing it because it's gray. I don't know why that just happened. We'll have to figure that out. Shouldn't be an issue because, hey, if there's too much sub, then you just EQ it out. But I want like a bass sound like this, and then I want to play it back with the other one playing. So let's just get some audio. I love resampling. I love even seeing it recorded there. It's really nice. Did you guys get Ableton Live 12? I did not because I'm not using it a whole lot, but it looks like it's like $230 US to upgrade. I think I'll do it at some point. I kind of want to get back into doing more Ableton, but I'm mostly focusing on the digital art stuff. So yeah, and then let's... So there we go. Take off the freeze. Look at all that low frequency buildup. I don't even know why. It wasn't doing that before, and then as soon as I click Spectrum, let's use this, not tuner, where is it? Shifter? Let's shift it up. No, we're gonna have to do the chorus to shift it up. Octave, up 12. And then we can always so now we got this, and let's see, can you see, where's the red note? Where's the red note, you dirty oxen? That it is. It's wonderful. I'm gonna legato it and then click play. Sounds good. So you'll want to like play with the track faders to like match it up. Because this one's giving us lows, we may want to go into the EQ and remove some of the lows. In fact, I'm going to take this EQ8, Command X to cut it, and then I'm going to go into Chia and remove some of them lows, because we already have it on the other one, but make sure you're on the first pole. Maybe, and again, like, just going off of whatever I think sounds right in me ears. Learn to trust your ears, because that's a big thing of sound design, you know what I mean? Like, if you created, like, this really good sounding thing, someone would be like, man, that sounds brilliant. But then if you, like, talked about it, someone would say, that's wrong. You're not supposed to have reverb on here. You're not supposed to do that up on chill. And you'd be like, you're being too much in your left brain, me friend. You cannot comprehend. I'm trying to lend you a hand, me friend. This sounds good, just gotta let it play. I like how they both sound. I'm gonna select both and then Command G to group them. And then on the group, I'm gonna get that one. Or let's throw some glue on there. Let's glue it. Glue compression. Turn on the soft clip. Take the attack down, me friend. Move it up. Why am I talking this way right now? I don't know, but smash at hope. That's the only thing I can say with like an Irish dialect. Smash at hope. Everything else, I can't come close. I listen to so many people from England on YouTube, like astrologers, crypto people. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, most of the people I hear talking in my day-to-day living here in the USA is people from England, Brits with Russell Brand, you know. Like, I'm actually hearing in my, cause I'm just like mostly just here with my little dog. I don't have any large social circle or anything, and so I mostly just hear like people from England talking. Because I'm always watching like spiritual stuff. There's so many from England, astrology, so many English astrologers, crypto. a lot of people from the U.S. too. But like, my mind just picks up on rhythms, and I like it. And then it comes out, and like so many people, Blender, so many people, just wonderful. English accent. So I'm not like, anyways guys, like, this is awesome. Like, I'm loving this. And it's always different. And then, of course, you know, we can just get another audio effect. Now, look how this pink audio effect is not in here, like with this group. Open up the I.O., go back into resampling. It's weird, like, I don't know why when it turned on, it just, like, did some stuff. All right, so let's record this. Here we go. So yeah, did you guys get Ableton Live 12 yet? I actually really do want it, because I will say, and I've said this before, I actually really do think there's a very good reason to get it, okay? Like, I don't mean like, oh, Ableton, a new Ableton came out, so of course we're all Ableton fanboys and fangirls, let's just go get the new Ableton. No, I don't mean it like that. Because if I didn't think there was a reason, like for instance, I started with Ableton Live 9, as I've said a lot, like right when it came out. And when Ableton Live 10 came out, aside from like adding in Wavetable, which, man, this sounds good. Besides, with that addition of Wavetable giving you access to a native Ableton inbuilt Wavetable synthesizer, there was a couple improvements. Like there was like a new distortion device pedal, and there were some other things, but like it was really kind of like, you could have done without it. Ableton Live 11 was like definitely like a big one up, but like Live 12 I really do like, because they basically changed MIDI. Like it allows you to like generate in so many different and creative ways, like very different, or no, to be able to like get MIDI patterns on the grid and look that up. Like if you're wondering about Ableton Live 12, whether to just upgrade or whatever, look at anything related to MIDI and like MIDI generation, and like that in its own right, if that wasn't there, I could really give two shits. But like, and it almost makes me wonder why it wasn't there in the first place. You know what I am saying, my friend? So here we have this, and as you know, if you go into the warp, which it's activated, repitch, we can then go in, and then we can, my friend, we can then play with that. Maybe it sounds better. Maybe not. Really, really nice. So, guys, how are you doing? How has everything been? I love and respect you guys. How are you doing? Are you hanging in there? How have you been dealing with all of these X-class solar flares, these CMEs, solar cycle 25, 222? How are you hanging in there? Are you trying to survive? Are you shedding your skin to begin again as completely newborn again? You know, the older all of our ancestry going back to the farthest reaches, farther back than Atlantis and Lemuria, even into ancient Egypt, and further on from there. You know, there was a lot of these ancient cultures that they didn't even have a word for death, you know? And then some didn't even have a word for birth. It was all the same word, death, rebirth, same thing. That's actually the Pluto energy. You've heard me talk about Pluto a lot. Pluto is all about death and transformation. If you're a Scorpio, which means the sun was in the constellation of Scorpio when you were born, or you have Scorpio as your rising sign, That sign is all about death and transformation, rebirth, right? And that's the energies of Pluto. So Pluto rules Scorpio. Back in the day before, and I really do mean back in the day, Mars was actually the ancient ruler of Scorpio prior to us actually identifying Pluto in the skies, and then it became the ruler of Scorpio. Now the ruler of Mars is Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, and we are in Aries season, which is the start of the astrological new year, which is marked every year on the spring equinox, which we just had a little while ago. And looks like we are in eclipse season, with the most powerful eclipse of the year being the total solar eclipse in Aries, and that will be on April 8th. And then the other really big, super big astrological energy for the year will be on April 20th, 420. Spark up them blunts out here, when a very rare conjunction, which means they will align in the same degree in the sky. Uranus and Jupiter alignment in 19 degrees of Taurus. They only align in the same point in the sky, in the zodiac, every 13 years. And yeah, it's a big one. And so anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed all of that. Hopefully you're sticking around with me here. I know we've got a really great ragtag crew of people here who like hanging out, having fun. You know, I'm teaching and I'm not teaching. I'm entertaining and I'm not entertaining. I'm telling stories and I'm not telling stories. I'm being fun, hopefully not boring. And I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you are enjoying yourselves. 2024, I think, is going to be the last year of very intense intensity and chaos. That solar cycle 25 comes to an end. Some say, and I subscribe to this too, that at the end of the year, 2024 marks the end of the Kali Yuga, which will be the beginning, true beginning of the age of Aquarius, because in November of this year, I believe November 20th to be precise, Pluto will enter Aquarius for the next 20 years, going all the way to the year 2044. It stays in each zodiac sign for about 20 years. Now you might say, well, hey, it's in Aquarius right now, but it goes back and forth from Aquarius, Capricorn, until finally it's there. In fact, it will actually move retrograde back into Capricorn from September 1st to November 20th, when it will then be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. We can talk more about the significance of that. You might say, well, how long was it in Capricorn for? It was in Capricorn until 2008, which was when we had the great financial crisis. Pluto intensifies whatever sign it's in, but it also highlights all the areas that aren't for the greater good of us, humanity, the planet. So exposes the corruption, so it can lead to a transformation, a rebirth. And what was it rebirthing and transforming when it was in Capricorn? Capricorn is all about centralization, top-down structure, banking system, financial system, all intertwined. What happened in 2008? I think you know why. Exposing all the corruption with big banking, financial systems, top-down structures, governments. And now we're moving into Aquarius, so themes of decentralization, community, what's best for humanity, but also exposing corruption in the areas of Aquarius, which is technology, AI specifically, and other things of that nature. But it does mark the age of Aquarius, and intensifying of the themes of Aquarius: freedom, revolution, decentralization, communities, decentralized currencies, which you know about them, cryptocurrencies. The move is towards decentralization. Don't get caught up in the meme coins, me friend. Not financial advice. Bitcoin is always nice. absolutely finite supply. Only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are enjoying yourself. Hopefully you are continuing to exist. And we will see you again, possibly another Blender show, another digital art stream. Das to me, friends. Stay in there. Keep into the end. It's never the end, but a transition from the end to a beginning, to a rebirth. That Pluto energy. Are you being reborn? Do you want transformation? It is very nice. It can be painful. It can freak you out a little bit at times, but it'll take you to the golden era, the golden age. You deserve it. One love. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed all of it, and smash it hope. Me high five. Ooh, 2 5s for the Tonky. He want a kiwi.